Hey guys, welcome to Morning Glory Farmstead. My name is Lolly, and this channel is all about gardening, animals, and nature. The leaves are falling so fast, and I only have a few more days to enjoy this. But you guys, check this out. The description box has the link to the Igloo omelet chicken coop. You guys check that out. I also did a video where I did a review on the omelet Igloo cube coop. The cats get just a few minutes each day where they're allowed to have some cat entertainment. My green stock got a little roughed up the other day in another storm with some really heavy winds, but it didn't hurt the taste any. They're delicious. I'm eating them on the daily. Check out the description box for a discount on your first green stock purchase. Today I want to talk to you about not only what I'm doing to prep my chickens for the winter, but also something that is going to benefit them all year long. Oh, there's nothing better than dry leaves, sticks, pine needles to start scratching around. My chickens are happiest when they are free-ranging. When chickens are cooped up a little bit too much and maybe they don't have enough room to roam around, sometimes they can get aggressive and they get really irritated and they start pecking at each other, and it can really cause some squabbles in the coop. So we don't want that going on. And so what I'm going to do is set them up some other areas that are outside of the run, but where they can still get shelter and some protection from the strong wind and all of the elements that come throughout the year. We've got ice and snow and really nasty stuff they don't need to be out in so that they don't get sick. Now, I have more chickens than I used to because I kind of inherited some from someone else this year, plus I had bought a few of my own. So I really need to make them some more room so they can kind of spread out, get away from each other a little bit so they're not in each other's bubble, getting irritated, but that they can also have protection from the wind and the snow and the rain and the freezing cold. We want them to be as comfortable and happy as possible. Now in my next video, as long as the weather's okay, I'm going to show you some of the accessories that I have, some things that I'm doing inside the run, as well as to their coops to keep them warm and to keep them occupied for the winter. Hey you guys, if you enjoy my videos, consider subscribing and hitting that like button. This channel's relatively new in the YouTube world and that would really help me out. Thanks. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how I made the hoop and then also what I did with some cinder blocks and some old pallets that I had. The first step was just to buy some wood. Now this is severe weather treated. It's made to come in contact with the ground. Still not sure how long that'll last, but hopefully it'll last a while. So both those pieces of wood are 8 feet long. One of them is about 9.5 inches wide, 1.5 inches thick, and the other one is like at least half that size. It's just a smaller board. And I'm using that for the foundation, okay, for the side panel that's going to be supporting the wire. So I used some 2.5-inch nails, just hammered them down in there. Pops and I took some turns doing these. You could probably use some brackets. If you have brackets on hand, those would be great because those would really tie them together. If these nails, look like they start coming loose after a little while, I can just add some brackets on there just to secure it a little bit more. So that's what they look like. That's the first pair. I've got 2 more pairs to make just like that, but just doing the one for this demo. So now it's time to attach the wire, but we're going to get these moved down into the location where they're supposed to be because they're pretty heavy. And then once we get them in the right place, we'll start adding wire. So Pops and I just lifted them up, put them on a little wagon that I have, and just pulled it down the hill to the chicken area. There's a lot of different types of fencing that you can use. I actually wanted to use cattle panel just because it's so much sturdier, but I needed the longer ones and was not able to get it into my vehicle because I don't have a truck. So I switched to this welded wire here, 48 inches in width and 50 feet long. And then I used these wire cutters here. I'm just showing you a quick shot here of what I used to cut the wire. If the chickens are sitting on top of this hoop, it'll probably bend its shape a little bit, but it's still going to achieve its purpose. So the first thing I did was just kind of unroll it and then loosely place it over the top and then start nailing on one side. And I did 2 rows of these round crown fence staples, okay? So these work great, but I'm gonna tell you, they will test your patience. You guys, if I had $1 for every time that I dropped one, maybe there's some kind of special nail gun or something that will shoot these fence staples in there a lot faster. But like my fingers aren't even that big, and I had a hard time kind of holding these and getting them hammered in, and it was even worse for Dad. Oh man, y'all, we dropped these so many times. So if you guys know a trick, let us know just for future reference. But we were finally able to get them in. So I did 2 rows. That bottom part of the fence is actually flush to the board. It doesn't really look like it there, but it is. So I decided to go up one and then skip a couple and do the second row a little bit higher up. So when I needed a break, I let Dad come in and try it. Look, he dropped one already, first one. Hey, we finally did it though, y'all. So 2 rows on each side. Now it's time to unroll the fencing and do the other half. You can see there that it only covers half of the 8-foot board, so you got to do it again. So I unrolled it again, kind of bent it into shape as much as I could, and then I zip tied those 2 pieces of fencing together just to make sure it was pretty solid there in the middle so that it wouldn't, you know, kind of fall down if the chickens jumped up on it. And it did really well. Then I actually clipped those zip ties. I just didn't show it, but that worked out great. So here you can see the 2 rows of the fence staples. That's a pretty good shot. That worked really well. I don't think that's going anywhere. It's nice and secure. And here's kind of the skeleton of what it looks like before I add the plastic or anything else to it. I added 2 layers of plastic sheeting. They have 4mm and 6mm. I would recommend the 6mm just because it's a little bit thicker. But I did add the 2 layers, one on top of the other, just to make it a little bit warmer and keep the elements out a little bit better. And then I staple gunned it all across the bottom on both sides through both of the layers of the sheeting. And that was really easy to do. Only took a couple minutes to get that down there. Looks a little bit dirty. We've had lots of rain in this area, so I just tried to sweep it off a little bit, get the dirt and some of the yuck off. Now there's times that I have severe winds that come through this area, and so I want to add a little bit of reinforcement. I don't want the wind to come in and just kind of rip that plastic from those staples. So what I'm going to do is just add a layer of garage door sealer, and I'm just going to nail that in. It actually comes with some nails that are perfect. They go straight through the plastic into the wood. They've got these little caps on top for some reinforcement. But I just want to add a little reinforcement so that if a storm comes through and it's super windy, hopefully they don't just pull right out. They kind of look like screws. They're not really smooth nails, and so I think that's going to help them stay in even better. Here's a bit of a closer look at the garage door seal and the nails that it comes with. This comes in 9 feet and I think 16 feet. I didn't see any garage door seal or any other type of rubber seal that was white and that looked like it would fit this specific purpose that I had. So that's why I got this, but you guys may find something else that's similar where you like the way it looks a little bit better. I'm all about practicality and just kind of serving the purpose. I think, you know, this is going to get dirty over time anyway because of the chickens and the rain and the mud and whatnot, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm very satisfied with how this looks. Now this chicken hoop is not on level ground, it's definitely on an incline, and so to keep the base from falling over on each side, I'm going to add some metal stakes. I've got some big ones like this one that you're looking at right here, and I've got some smaller ones. So I'm going to run 3 on the outside, and then I'm also going to go to the inside and run a couple across the board on the inside. inside. And that way, that thing's not going anywhere. Here's a shot of the stake on the inside underneath the hoop. And when I tried to kind of wiggle the hoop a little bit, man, it's really sturdy. So I'm very pleased with how this is turning out. Now, my only thing is kind of wishing I had used a couple brackets on the inside here to connect those two pieces of wood, because if the wind is strong enough, I'm not sure if it can't lift those big boards off the base at the bottom. So just something to think about. Now you'll end up with extra plastic sheeting at the ends, so I cut a lot of it off, and then it's going to need to be secured up under there. We've got another tropical storm coming in with strong winds because of another hurricane, and so for now I think I'm actually going to duct tape it underneath. What I wanted to do was do some type of tubing along that outer part. I had clear PVC tubing and it was just too flimsy. It wasn't going to work, and now the storm is rolling in, so I don't have time to go back to the store and get some more tubing or some other way to rig it. And you don't want to compromise the plastic sheeting too much by doing zip ties and things like that. Okay, so you can see here I've got the black duct tape on the inside, and I can always come back and reinforce that later. I've got 3 of these hoops to build, and I may do each one a little bit differently on the edge just to see how it works out. But for now, I think that looks pretty good. It doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere. I really feel that this is going to be useful during the summertime to offer some shade from the heat, but also from the rain, and then during the winter from the snow and the really cold wind. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is this setup. Now, I'm using some cinder blocks that I already had and an old pallet. I've got a few of these. You guys can make it plain. You can decorate it however you want to do it. But the point is that I have this positioned so that hopefully the wind doesn't go through this like a tunnel. And I have them set up where the solid side is blocking the wind so that when they go inside, it cuts some of that cold winter air. And then during the summer, if I want, I can turn those cinder blocks over to where it's open more, causing a cross breeze, hopefully, so that they can go in there, get some shade, and cool off a little bit. Now for the winter, my plan is to go ahead and use the plastic sheeting to cover the top of this pallet, and then I can just staple it to the bottom of the pallet. And that's going to give them a little more protection like this one from the rain and the snow. During the summer, I can just take that sheeting off and they can get some more airflow through there. I have a feeling they're going to be perching on all of this as well and having a good time on top of these. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I had fun sharing it with you. If you guys have made something like this or similar, or you're gonna try something, let us know. Put some stuff down in the comments. I wanna hear what you guys are doing too. Now, I will see you real soon in the next video. Until then, you guys have a great few days. Bye-bye.